Resourceful Designer 213, how to write a vision statement for your design business.
Welcome to the Resourceful Designer Podcast, offering solutions to streamline your graphic and web design business so you can get back to designing. And now, your host. He's the guy with the funny Canadian accent, Mark Decote.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're all staying safe and that this COVID-19 that's going around is not affecting you or your family in any way. I wish you all the best. And I also hope that you're still plugging away at your design business and helping it grow. Now, in today's episode of the podcast, I'm going to explain what a vision statement is and how to write one to help you guide your business. And I'm going to share a resource of the week to help you add some fun to your writing. But before I get to that, I'll share a little bit of what I've been up to. Well, last night had a great live hangout for the Resourceful Designer Facebook group. And just a little plug, I haven't plugged it in a while, but if you're not a member of the Facebook group and you would like to join, visit resourcefuldesigner.com/group, where you can request to join. And there will be 3 questions, very simple questions that are asked of you. And it's just my way of weeding people out. So as long as you answer the questions, I'll let you in. But there's a lot of people that try to get in without answering, and I just deny them access. I've found that works over the years, so that's the way it is. So if you're interested in joining the Facebook group, resourcefuldesigner.com/group will redirect you there. But last night we had a live video hangout that I had over Zoom with members of the Facebook group. And we had, I hope I'm not going to forget anybody here, we had Kat, we had Brian, Keith, Craig joined for a little bit, Landon, John, Sierra, Heather joined towards the end. Yeah, those people joined. It was supposed to be a 1-hour conversation we were going to have, and it ended up being almost 2 hours because we were having such a great time. And I hope that in the future, I'll probably do another one of these in the month of May at some point. I'm not sure when, I'll have to check my schedule. But it was a lot of fun, and I plan on doing another one sometime soon. So we did that last night. What else have I been up to? I worked on a brochure for a client. It's a brand new client. They asked me to do a brochure for them for their business that they can distribute around town. And I realized that I hadn't done a print job in an awful long time. As you may or may not know, I'm not an InDesign user. I still use Quark Express. I've been using Quark Express since they first came out many years ago. And I've called it up and I had to look at it for a few seconds and go, how do I do this again? Because just until it all, of course it all flooded back into my mind because I'm so used to Quark Express, but it did take me a couple of seconds to reorient myself with the software before designing the brochure. But I think it turned out pretty well. My client was very pleased. It's now off at the printers. I'm also doing some print brokering with that one. So making some extra money there. If you want to know more about print brokering, and if you're wondering what is he talking about, listen to episode 49 of the podcast, where I talk all about supplementing your income with print brokering. So I'm making some few dollars there off that job. But besides that, it's pretty well the norm that I've been sharing with you every week. A couple of websites on the go, some podcast artwork. I did write an article for my podcast branding website that actually got picked up and mentioned by the Podcast Business Journal, which is a online newsletter type magazine. Actually, they do a print version. I don't get the print version. I only get the online version. But my story was featured in one of their episodes, one of their daily newsletter that goes out to talk about the podcast industry. Well, the article I wrote was featured in there, so that was a really nice plug. I was very happy with that. And I've been trying to concentrate a little bit more on my LinkedIn presence. I really want to build that platform. I know that ever since Andrea Jones was on back in episode 177 to talk about using social media to promote your design business, she mentioned how great a platform LinkedIn is for our sort of industry. So I've really been making an effort to try to grow my presence over there. So I've been doing a few things this week just to tweak what I have over on LinkedIn. So that's pretty well what I've been up to this week. Now, I did mention that we had the live video hangout for the Facebook group. Well, that's the same sort of thing that we do every week with the Resourceful Designer community. Every Monday, we have a kickoff meeting, kind of talk amongst ourselves, find out what we've got going this week and how we can help each other, or just kind of encouraging words. So we do that every Monday, and then once per month, We have our normal video chat where we usually try to pick a topic and discuss around that topic. So a lot of great things happening in the community. A lot of conversations, a lot of fun going on. It's a good stress reliever for a lot of people. We're having a lot of fun, some GIFs flying here and there. And yes, I do pronounce it GIF and not GIF. But overall, we're having a really good time. And we would love for you to be a part of the community as well. If you're interested in becoming a member of a great community of designers who are really, really dedicated to growing their business and to helping each other, kind of like a mentorship group, if you will, then I highly suggest you check out the Resourceful Designer community by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/community. And now it's time for the resource of the week. And as I said in the intro, this is a resource that will hopefully liven up your writing when you're on your computer. Now, it's kind of funny. I'm going to share a resource with you to start, and then I'm going to tell you why you should not use it. Last week, I was in a coaching call with, I mentioned Andrea Jones just recently. I'm in her Savvy Social School, and she was holding her weekly coaching call. And in it, she mentioned a website called getemoji.com. And when I saw that, I went, wow, this is amazing. All it is getemoji.com is a website that shows every emoji that's available. Now, if you're used to typing on your phone, it's really easy to do an emoji. But when you're on your desktop computer, only certain places, certain platforms, like if you're on Facebook or something, will allow you to type an emoji. So this website, when she showed it, it shows all the emojis, and all you do is you copy them and then paste them into whatever you're typing. So if you're making an email or you're in a Word document or wherever, you can paste an emoji into it. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. So the first thing I did is I went into the Resourceful Designer community and I shared it there. I says, guys, you won't believe this. Look at this great website. And then Mike, who is a member of the community, says, well, Mark, why don't you just use Command Control Spacebar whenever you're typing, which is something I'd never heard about. So it turns out that this Getemoji website, getemoji.com, that I was so excited about, isn't actually needed. Because on the Mac, wherever you're typing, if you're typing anywhere in a text box and you press Control, Command, and Spacebar, a menu of emojis pops up. Now, I did look up, and I guess you can do the same thing on Windows. What you need to do is press the Window key, plus it's either the period or the semicolon. It depends on what version of Windows you're running. So give it a try. You have to be within a text box with a cursor flashing, and then you press the Windows key, and while you're holding the Windows key, you press the period or the semicolon. It's one or the other. And again, on Mac, that's Control plus Command and Spacebar, and it opens up a palette, and then you can search through the palette. You can just scroll through it, find the emoji you want, you click on it, and it's inserted into your text. So that's something, it's just one of those things that I've never really used emojis because I do most of my typing on the computer. I don't like typing on my phone. But once I found this, I went, oh, wow, I can finally do emojis. Now, I still do like the Getemoji website because it shows the emojis really big. And there's some of them that are very similar looking. So I'll look through, especially all those smiley faces and stuff. Some of them, the smile may be just slightly different. So because they show them bigger, it allows me to go in and pick the right one, especially if I'm not wearing my glasses. So if you're somebody who likes using emojis when you're typing, and has a hard time when you're on your desktop computer or your laptop, remember those, 3 resources. There's getemoji.com, which is the website that lists them all and you can copy and paste them. Or on a Mac, press Control, Command, and Spacebar to call up the emoji menu. Or on Windows, it's the Windows key plus either the period or the semicolon, depending on your version of Windows. So I hope that made your day, because I know it sure made mine when I discovered that earlier this week. And now, how to write a vision statement for your design business. Now, I was listening to another podcast that I subscribed to earlier this week, and the host opened up with a quote. And the quote was, "Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare." Now, I looked up this quote because he didn't say who it came from, and it turns out it's an old Japanese proverb. And loosely what it means is, if you have a vision of something but you don't do anything about it, it's nothing more than a daydream. However, if you do take action on something without having any sort of vision to guide you, the results can be chaotic and possibly catastrophic. Now, I know that sounds a little dire, but it's a fact that many new businesses, and that includes graphic and web design businesses, never achieve their full potential due to a lack of vision. And that's why having a vision statement for your business is so important. Now, a vision statement is actually something that I discuss with all new clients. Anytime I sit down to do a discovery with a client or we talk brand strategy, I always ask them about their vision statement. And some of them don't have one, in which case we'll kind of work through one, and some of them do. Well, any company's or organization's vision statement will help me to determine the best path to take in regards to the work I do for that company. It gives me a clear idea of how and of what the designs I create are intended for, how they're going to use them to reach their vision. But today, I'm not talking about working with clients. I'm just letting you know that vision statements is something that I've been doing for years with clients. We've been discussing them and in some cases having to develop them in order to improve a client's brand and brand image. But today, I'm talking about your own design business. Do you have a vision statement for your business? Now, I am getting a little bit ahead of myself here, so before I go any further, let me explain the difference between, first of all, a mission statement and a vision statement. The purpose of a mission statement is to define the what, the who, and the why of a company at the present moment. It's kind of an action-oriented instructional roadmap, if you will, of how a business operates. It defines the purpose of a business, its functions, and its objectives. A vision statement, on the other hand, defines where the company or organization, or in your case, design business, where it wants to be once it's achieved its mission. It defines future objectives for your business. So the purpose of a vision statement is to guide you in your decision-making when it comes to setting goals in order to reach a future destination. So when you compare the two, a mission statement is the journey you will take to reach your vision statement, the destination. In doing research for this episode, I read something here by Jessica Howard, who is the co-owner of North Star Messaging and Strategy, a copywriting and messaging company. And she puts it this way: a mission statement focuses on the purpose of a brand. The vision statement looks to the fulfillment of that purpose. And just so you know, in most cases, a vision statement will be shared within an organization, within a company. So with the employees, with contractors, with partners, but it's internal, where a mission statement is usually shared with the public. That's why when you see somebody's website, they'll often, some companies will have a link to their mission statement, but very rarely will they show their vision statement. So why do you need a vision statement? Especially if you're just a one-person small business. Well, for one thing, focus. Many business owners, including designers, start a business without any focus. And without focus, you can end up all over the place. You're a graphic designer, so you decide to start a design business. But what does that entail? And once you get going, you get some clients, you start working. Do you want to be doing this exact same thing that you're doing today, 3 to 4 years from now? Do you want to be working for the exact same types of clients? Do you want to be doing the exact same types of design projects? Do you want to be making the exact same income? Without a proper vision of what you want to build for yourself, you can end up very busy, but not actually get anywhere. And I know because that's the way I was for the first few years of my business. I was very busy, constantly doing work, but I wasn't getting anywhere. My business wasn't growing. It wasn't fulfilling anything for me. Well, a vision statement allows you to create a clear picture of the future of your business 3 to 4 years from now. Now, you may be wondering, well, a vision sounds a lot like a goal. I want you to think of them a little bit differently, though. Think of a vision as a mindset, a place you want to be sometime in the future, something you want to achieve, but something that isn't as measurable as an actual goal. For example, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that I recently started a design business focused on designing for the podcast industry. It's called podcast branding. Well, my vision for podcast branding is to be known as the design leader or the design expert in the podcast space. And I want to accomplish that by providing affordable and yet professionally designed visual needs for podcasters. Now, my vision includes that within 3 to 4 years, I will have grown that company to the point where I have a team of dedicated people helping me to achieve that outcome. That's my vision. But in order to achieve that vision, I need to set goals. For example, to be considered the expert designer in the podcast space, I've set a goal of creating podcast artwork for 500 shows. Now, at this point, I haven't calculated, but I think I've done about 230, 240 shows so far. So I'm about halfway to that goal. Another goal I have is to launch and host 100 websites for podcast clients. So those are 2 goals that I'm working towards. But if you think back to episode 55 of the podcast, when I talked about setting goals for your design business, I talked about SMART goals. Now, you may have heard that term before. And if you want to go back and listen to this episode, it's resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 55. But SMART goals are goals that you set that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-related. And that means that most goals are single-focused. Building 100 websites or creating 500 podcast cover arts. A vision, on the other hand, is much broader than a goal, but still something to strive for. How can I, if you listen to what my vision was, how can I measure whether or not I'm considered the expert in the podcast space? I don't know. I have no idea. But that's not stopping me from trying to fulfill that vision of becoming that expert in the space. And knowing that vision that I have for podcast branding, it's helping me to develop strategies and goals that over time will allow me to get there. So everything I do, every decision I make, every person I contact, every publication I do, every bit of marketing, everything I do for podcast branding, I do while following the vision of becoming an expert in that field. If I think to myself, this is not going to help me achieve that, then there's no sense in me doing it. But on the other hand, if I think of something, I say, this could be a huge benefit in helping me achieve that, then yes, I'm going to put all my effort into getting that done. And you need to be doing something similar with your design business. Figure out a destination, a vision of where you want to be 3 to 4 years from now, and then figure out how you're going to get there. Now, you don't need to have a special niche like I have with the podcast industry, although I will admit it does make it a bit easier. Even somebody who's a general quote-unquote all-purpose graphic or web designer should still have a vision of where they want to be 3 to 4 years down the road. You see, the whole purpose of a vision statement is to inspire you, to encourage you, to push you. What do you need to do to achieve that vision? What do you need to stop doing because it's impeding you from reaching that vision? What do you need to learn that'll help you on that path? Who do you need to partner with that can help you get there? What do you need to acquire in order to reach your vision? Without a vision of your future and your business's future, it's so easy to get bogged down by the day-to-day details of running a business. I know, I was doing that for many years. But think to yourself, what are you working for? Are you just doing the work, anticipating the next payment from a client? Well, what happened once that client pays you? Then what? Is your next purpose to find another client and start the whole process over again? How fulfilling is that? Yes, it's nice to get money from clients, but if it's the same thing over and over, it gets monotonous, and after a while, it could get very dreary and you won't like it anymore. Without a vision statement, it's like you're a boat in a river and you don't have any oars. You kind of know what direction you're going because you're flowing with the river, but you have no control over the boat. You have no idea how far you'll make it downriver. You have no idea where you'll end up downriver, and you have no idea when you'll get there. When you think of it in those terms, do you see why it's important to have a vision statement for your design business? So let's get into writing your actual vision statement. I want you to think of it as your strategic plan for your design business, a way to differentiate yourself from the other designers around you. When you think of your vision statement, think about what value does your service provide? Who does your services help? How do your clients feel when they hire you? All of this stuff will help you when it comes to developing your vision statement. What marketing do you use? How do you reach out for potential new clients? How do you reach out to existing clients? Think about all these things and think, how do these play in to the long-term vision you have for your design business? Is everything you're doing right now leading you in the right direction? Unfortunately, when it comes to writing a vision statement, there's no template or anything or plans that you can follow. Vision statements can be as short as one sentence long or several pages long if you want, as long as it outlines what you want for the future of your business. Now, some things to consider when you write yours. Your vision plan should always be something in the future, but you should write it in the present. Meaning your vision, the actual vision in the statement, shouldn't reflect what you're doing right now with your business. It's something that you hope to be, a place you hope to be, something you hope to achieve 2 to 3 years down the road. But you should write it as if you've already achieved it. So in my case, my vision statement is not to one day be recognized as an expert. My vision statement is be recognized as the expert in the podcast field. By writing it in the present tense, whenever you read it, it'll help encourage you because deep down, you know you're not there yet, but you're reading it as if you are, and it's going to give you that much more incentive to reach that goal. Now, the next thing you should do is make it challenging. Your vision statement needs to challenge you. Otherwise, what's the point of having one? It needs to be something that's attainable, but something that shouldn't be so easy that you can easily lose focus over time and forget about it. You also need to make it clear, meaning focus on 1 or 2 goals for your future. That's all you need. Don't stuff your vision statement full of grand ideas. That'll only make it confusing and distract you and confuse you as the years go by. So make it clear, but also make it general. A vision statement, although defined, meaning you do have a definite vision, should be general enough to offer direction, but not instruction. Meaning it should say where you want to be, but not how you're going to get there. Looking back at mine, I want to be the expert in the podcast field. That's my vision, but it doesn't tell me how I'm going to achieve that. That's where goals come in. The goals and the mission statement will get you to your vision statement. You should also make it inspiring. There's no point having a vision statement that doesn't encourage you to work hard to achieve it. So when you write it, infuse some passion in it that will encourage you to work towards it. Now, I suggest you keep it short. It should be easy to read without any fluff in that. Something that you can actually memorize and not have to look up and read. Something you could repeat to yourself on a regular basis as you work towards achieving your vision. Again, in my case, it's very easy. Everything I do, I ask myself, is this going to help me to become an expert when it comes to design in the podcast space? So I did find some examples of businesses you may be familiar with, what their vision statements are, and I'd like to share a few of them here with you. Patagonia, I know my son really likes their stuff. Their vision statement is build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. Amazon, you ever heard of them? Their vision statement, to be Earth's most customer-centric company where customers can find and discover anything they might want to buy online. So I have a couple more, but I want to stop here at that one that I just read from Amazon. Think of this, their vision statement. Every decision that Amazon makes, anytime they think up a new idea, try to go in a new direction, they pull this up and they think, if we do this, is it going to help us to be Earth's most customer-centric company where customers can find and discover anything they might want to buy online? If the answer is yes, then they move forward. But if the answer is no, then they may think differently and say, well, maybe that is not a direction we want to take. Look at Ben & Jerry's ice cream, making the best ice cream in the nicest possible way. Habitat for Humanity, a charity I used to be on the board of directors for our local branch. Their vision statement, a world where everyone has a decent place to live. So that's something that they're striving for. Now, theirs is much more than a 3 to 4 year term. This is a long-term vision statement for them, a world where everyone has a decent place to live. But again, it helps them make their decisions. Every time they think of something, they weigh it against this vision statement. And is this going to help everyone in the world with a decent place to live? If the answer is yes, then do it. If the answer is no, then they pass on it. Walgreens, to be America's most loved pharmacy-led health, well-being, and beauty company. Or Southwest Airlines, to become the world's most loved, most flown, and most profitable airline. So you see, these are all very simple, very distinct, and easy to weigh decisions upon. And I hope that some of them may inspire you for something to write for yourself. Now, once you do have a vision statement, whether you wrote a one-sentence statement or a paragraph or a few paragraphs or a few pages, once you do have it, what do you do with it? Well, you use your vision statement as a guiding light in everything you do with your business. Your vision statement will help you decide what clients and what projects to take on and which ones to pass on. Your vision statement will allow you to identify distractions from opportunities. If something presents as a distraction, you'll know to ignore it. But if something presents as an opportunity that can help you achieve that vision, then you should embrace it. And the better you write your vision statement, the more productive you'll be because you'll know exactly where you're going. I can tell you that anytime I do any work for podcast branding, I am very, very productive because I know if I'm doing something, it's helping me achieve that goal. And anything I have that's not helping me achieve that goal is put aside. There's no reason for me to do it. So it's keeping me much more productive when I'm working on that side of my business. Now, if you do have partners or employees or whatever, make sure you share your vision statement as part of your strategic plan. If you're hiring contractors, even share it with your clients. Use it as a way to communicate with everybody that you work with where you envision your future being. If your contractors know what you're planning on, if your clients know what you're planning on, if your partners know what you're planning on, they can all help you in achieving that goal. And that's why a vision statement is so important for any business. Now, one thing that I want you to keep in mind here is that a vision statement, as I mentioned earlier, is a destination. It's a place you want to be 3 to 4 years down the road. I always say 3 to 4 years because if you put it for more than 4 years, there's a lot of stuff that can change technology-wise or just in life in general, who knows. So 3 to 4 years is more realistic. And anything shorter than that, sometimes the time frame's just not there to achieve it or it just becomes too much pressure. So that's why 3 to 4 years is kind of the sweet spot. But if you want to set one that's shorter or longer, you can. I just like that 3 to 4 year time frame. But know that, as I said, your vision statement is a destination, and sometimes a destination can change during a journey. So it's nice to know where you want to be 3 to 4 years down the road. But a lot can happen in that time. New opportunities may come your way that'll change what your vision is, or you may encounter roadblocks that force you to change that vision. And perhaps as your business grows, your priorities may change, and you'll want to review and alter your vision statement to fit those changing needs. Whenever it comes time, trust your gut. If it's telling you that your vision statement is no longer in your best interest, and that you need to change it to achieve a different future, then do so. It's your business after all. You can do what you want. A vision statement is not something that you should just set and then put blinders on to the rest of the world around you. Don't let it limit your opportunities to grow your business in a different direction than what you had originally intended. It should be fluid, but you should have one nonetheless. All the best companies around have a vision statement. Don't you want to be considered one of those companies? Now, I would love to know, do you have a vision statement, or did this episode encourage you to write a vision statement for your business? If so, I would love to hear it. Please share it in the comments. Visit resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 213 and leave a comment. Let me know, what is your vision statement? So that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope it was a little inspiring, and those of you that do have your business going, maybe get you thinking a little bit 3-4 years down the road where you want to be. And for those of you who haven't quite started your business yet, maybe that's your vision, is to get the business started. Where do you want to be a couple of years down the road? So thank you very much for tuning in. I want to remind you again of the resource of the week. The website was getemoji.com, but if you want to do it even faster, on your Mac, press Control, Command, Spacebar, and on your Windows computer, press the Windows key plus either the period or the semicolon, depending on your version of Windows. And that'll call up a palette with emojis for you to enter into any text field. So I hope you enjoy that. And speaking of enjoying, I know you would enjoy being a part of the Resourceful Designer community. Learn more by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/community. So that's it for me. Until next time, I am Mark Decote, wishing you all the best with your design business and reminding you to stay creative.
Thanks for listening to the Resourceful Designer Podcast at resourcefuldesigner.com.